This is Terry Kurtz online reporting on Victor Valley, High Desert, and Mojave River Valley events, activities, entertainment, sports, and history.
Happy 2022, Joseph W.
Joseph W. Brady's first interview of 2022 offers his prognostication on what is ahead economically for the High Desert, Mojave River Valley.
Terry, I've been up here, some people know the story, May 13th, 1988, 2:45 in the afternoon via Santa Barbara. I've seen the closure of George Air Force Base. I've seen the fight over George Air Force Base. I saw the expansion from 1999 until 2007. We saw the 2008 implosion. We saw 26,000 homes get foreclosed on out here. We've seen welfare at 57.5% per capita for our residents. I have never seen a more clear vision of, I think, where the High Desert is going to go, or the Mojave River Valley. And not everybody's going to agree with this. So picture when you come up the Cajon Pass, if you live here, you always look out towards the north. You look out towards Apple Valley and Adelanto and the base. You know, you're 3.5 miles on in on the left-hand side, you've got, the first building that Ken Shear and Mark Malikovich with Covington sold to Modway, and that building is 60 days from being open. We'll have to get John out there and do a tour. Yeah, it's 1,100,000 square feet. My inside knowledge, probably from Ken Shear, we don't know any names at this point. The other two pads that we drove on that day are probably in an escrow and ready to go. Wow. So that's pretty big. But think about it. So again, we're driving up I-15. And if you take the loop on Highway 395, like you're going to go to the Pilot, our company did the Pilot deal years ago. I think between where the Pilot gas station is today and the California Aqueduct up on 395, 2 miles, roughly a mile north of Main Street, I would picture that you will see in 5 years, you will see 10 1 million square foot industrial buildings within that corridor. Okay. Industrial land has gone up literally 400% this last year. And when you tell that to people, they think that you're trying to sell something. The challenge is we can't get enough of it because what the developers are looking for, they're looking for big chunks of ground. One of the issues that has impeded that growth has been the Joshua Tree issue. So we know of an industrial developer right now who has a building he's going to lay down, it's 1 million square foot. And the cost of mitigation right now, because the state of California Fish and Wildlife have not come to terms with what the mitigation fee will be. There's going to be a fee there, probably $10,000 to $15,000 an acre, and then what the Center of Biodiversity is going to be. They're looking at an $8 million bill, but the tenant needs the land. They're going to go ahead, and it's to me, it's legalized extortion. I got to say one thing. I'm not a big state of California Fish and Wildlife a lover. I understand what they do, and I appreciate what they do. But to all of a sudden say that the Joshua Tree is going to become extinct, where it lives out in the middle of 130 degrees out in Death Valley, there's just, I don't get it. I think what they're trying to do is that they're trying to stop growth in some areas that really need growth. So if you drive down to Yucca Valley, if we listen to what our governor says, okay, we need 3.5 million homes. Where are you going to build these 3.5 million homes? You're not going to build them in Sausalito or Hillsboro or Santa Barbara or San Luis Obispo or Ventura or San Diego or Newport Coast. You have to bring them inland. So you're looking at the Antelope Valley, the High Desert here, the Victor Valley, Joshua Tree, 29 Palms, Bakersfield. So where are you going to build them? Well, there's some areas that have these trees. But getting back to the prognosis, the industrial market is just going to explode. The concern I've got, and I think the college is trying to address it, is we're trying to put together contractual education programs for those users, the industrial users. I mean, working with Mitsubishi Cement, the mining companies, to be sure that we can train people that use a forklift. Okay, so I think we've got kind of a good problem, and I didn't see this explosion the way that it is. Home sales continue to still grow. While you're going to hear this year that home sales are going to slow down in certain parts of the country, and you're going to hear that the interest rates are going to be bumped up 3 times. Interest rates being bumped up by the Federal Reserve are not necessarily an indication of what's going to happen in the single-family market, but psychologically, I think we're going to see some upticks in mortgages. When you think about what drove the high desert out here when Ira Norris was building homes in 1980, 81, when the prime was running at 18%. I mean, the prime was at 18%. It's still peanuts. So we may be looking at, a year from now, we may be looking at, a 4% number on mortgages. Still, I mean, cheap. So I think housing is going to continue to be really strong. I think that with Brightline coming in, from what we understand, Brightline, the speed train, not only is going to go from Dale Evans Parkway to Vegas, but it's going to go from Dale Evans Parkway down to Hesperia, probably Ranchero Road, and then from there down to the Ranch Cucamonga area where Metrolink is. That's the only EIR, Environmental Impact Report, that has to be completed. It's the one down and that's supposed to be done within the city of Rancho Cucamonga by November of this year. I understand will be certified shortly thereafter, and that they really hope to start construction up here in first quarter of 2023. Seems like a long ways away, but I can tell you, if it's any indication of the, how quick this year has already started. So that is, I think, just a real deal. And as I have said, I think it's a game changer. I think it's a game changer for those young families that want to move out here, that want to have a home, that want to have a backyard, that want to have some kids, that want to have 2 cars, that want to enjoy all the great things that we have out here in the high desert region. And if they want to have that high-paying job, they're going to be able to take that train down below. So absolute game changer. I have said recently, I wish I was a lot younger, but it kind of is what it is. The growth out at Southern California Logistics Airport. So unfortunately, we lost our friend Dougal Hagan and his partner Chris Downey and Brian Parno and Anita Tuckerman. I want to give a big shout out to Anita, because she's not here to defend herself. But all those fishing contests that we had, and I beat you every time. I know that you'll get over it. I'm only kidding. She whipped me like 3 times in a row back and didn't tell you right. And she made Deb very clear how bad she beat me on the fishing contest. But no, so Ken Shear and Covington again. I mean, huge proponents of the high desert region. Brought in their equity partners, and they bought 3,400,000 square feet of Class A LEED certified industrial buildings out there. I mean, they are absolutely the nicest, most energy efficient buildings that you can find. They paid $270 million cash. $270 million in cash. Okay, our daily press, I mean, God bless them. I would have thought it would have been a headline story. I think it should have been a headline story, but whoever put the paper together that day down in Palm Desert, because it's not put together up here, should have thought about that. So that's a huge deal. And then you have Kim Schneider. Kim is the president of the Western Division of Prologis. Prologis is the largest industrial developer in the world, bar none. I believe last time I checked, they built 750 million square feet of industrial space worldwide. They have 6,000 corporate tenants across the world. They're based back in Denver. I mean, they're the 800-pound gorilla, and they came in, and they were a partner with Dougal Hagan and Sterling, and in part of the deal that Dougal had with ownership of the land, or control land, I should say. They are now totally in sole control. Kim's a great guy to work with. I think that he's I know this. I had a conversation with him probably a week ago, and he wants to get involved in leadership out here from a distance. He's not going to be able to do it all the time. But I think with what he offers out there, the second longest runway in the world, Brightline coming. Oh, did I forget to tell you that John Ohanian, they're grubbing, okay, clearing and grubbing. So that means they're clearing off the top stuff. He had to move his equipment off the site because he didn't have his Joshua Tree permit. I believe that Joshua Tree permit has already been secured. So he has to bring the equipment back on. He's going to have a soft groundbreaking sometime at the latter part of probably February, early March to show people that he's doing. The model complexes are now going to be open. The six models with 6 national home builders will open February of 2024. So that's Super Bowl weekend, so that's 2 years away. They're still planning on, I just had a great lunch yesterday with Frank Williams, who used to be the executive director of the Bellevue chapter of the BIA. And there was Carlos Rodriguez, the old director, and Chuck Roberts, who lives in Spring Valley Lake, and Jonathan Weldy. So Jonathan is kind of a local product up here, not any relationship to the Weldy family in Apple Valley, but Jonathan happens to live in Apple Valley. Him and his wife Lisa have Meridian Land Company. And John O'Hanian recently hired him as a project manager. He said to me yesterday, he said, Joe, I'm like a little kid. He said, I'm just having a great time. And so finally this project, after literally 40 some odd years, is now reality. And when you think about the history of how long it took the county and everybody's aspirations, I don't know if I ever told you this, but American Express was one of the early financial equity partners in that project after Mark Eagleton, my friend who died here a couple of years ago, had sold her. They actually went bankrupt. And then there was a company, a company called Balcor involved. And then John Hutchinson got involved. And then they lost in foreclosure, and then John's group has got involved. And I think that the next big thing about why Tapestry is so important, and you never know, they may change the name. That might be, you just got to wait and see. The company behind them, they're development partners. So in these big developments, there's all types of layers of debt partners and equity partners and development partners. Their development partner has been around in excess of 60 years, building master plan communities throughout the country. So they have the pulse of what do people want in a master plan community. You know, I know probably 5 people right now that bug me all the time about the grand opening because they want to live down in Tapestry. They want to live they want to be a part of a lifestyle, which is what they're going to have. So, John, I take my hat off to you, to John Weldy and John O'Hanian. God bless you both. You both really, I think you both deserve working with each other because you're both good guys without egos, and I think that's going to happen. I don't see any letdown right now. So I know some people are worried that we're going to peak in the housing side. We've peaked in some markets across the country. When you think, Terry, that we're at $200 a square foot here in the high desert, plus or minus, okay? So there'll be some people say, well, my house isn't worth $200, and I'll have some people say, well, my house is worth $240 a foot. Okay, I know what it's costing us to build a house in Prescott, Arizona. So there's no end in sight. I mean, I don't see if the industrial players continue to move up here and they start to follow what Ken Shear, Mark Milikovich, and Covington's doing, and I mean, they're clamoring over themselves out in Apple Valley. I mean, they're buying land now at prices that we've just never seen, nor did we ever see. So let me just close this little segment and give you an idea. In a very short period of time, probably in about 2 weeks, I'm on an industrial panel for France Publications. They do a big seminar down in conference for industrial, multifamily, and retail down in Moreno Valley, and I'm honored to be the person from the high desert that got a shot at one of the 4 panels. If you had 10 acres of land today in Chino, okay, that was entitled, has the approvals to build an industrial building, you would have 100 developers willing to write you a check for $85 a square foot. So if you really want to know what that works out to, anybody watching this, go to your calculator and put $85 times 43,560 and tell me what that number is. It's an incredible number that you just never see. So that's in Chino. Okay, when I first came to the high desert here, it was called the Victor Valley, land out there, the cow pastures was probably $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 an acre back in 1988. You go to Banning Beaumont here and pay $20 a foot. I sat on a site in Yoruba Valley. Yoruba Valley is site of the old Riverside cement plant. Okay, they tore it down. Developer with CT Realty is building 1 million square foot buildings. A buddy of mine, Mike Gill with RGA, is doing the architecture. That site today is worth $75 a square foot. Land down in Paris, $60 a square foot. Ontario, $75 a foot. So you scratch your head. They're literally running out of ground. But the last guy left is a guy who I'm going to give a good plug to, a gentleman by the name of Ido Benzivi. So Ido owns World Logistics, and it's a project of 40 million feet of entitled space that will allow him to build 121 million feet of space. So if he has 40 million square feet on the ground, that doesn't mean he can't go up 2 stories or 3 stories. I got to meet him many years ago, actually through the help of Scott France from France Publications. Deb and I were coming back from San Diego and called his office and went in and met with him. He's gone through the entitlement process for the last 15 years. So he has 3,000 square feet right there on the 60 freeway, right before you get to the Badlands, going east through Moreno Valley. He has the entitlements totally done. They just wrote a check for, I think, $43 million to pay off the environmental lawsuits, et cetera, et cetera. And I had the chance of taking Latrice, LJ, from our office, and one of our new and bright additions, Jonathan Armio, down to meet with him 2 weeks ago, and he took us through the Skechers plant that he's added on. So the first Skechers plant, which is, it's almost, I don't know, a mile long. It's 1,850,000 feet. The new addition is like 800,000 feet. So between the two, you'd say, well, you've got 2.6 million feet. He actually has 4 million feet that he's renting to them because they have mezzanines on the inside and second floors. And the technology, Terry, the technology that we saw was literally mind-boggling of how these distribution centers and logistics centers work. So if you look at where robotics is going to go, and some people say, well, robotics is going to put people out of work. Well, how many million people, resigned in the month of November that don't want to go to work? And, we're leading the pack in the country for the country with the most amount of unemployed. And we shouldn't be like that. But the automation in these plants, Mike Gill, again, a renowned architect, he's designed over 300 million square feet of industrial space during his career. He was up here recently with me, and he was telling me a story about a major company spent $50 million on a million square foot building. They spent either 215 or 250 million on their conveyors and all the stuff on the inside, and it will take them 18 months to set up, and the whole time they're paying the landlord rent. Okay, speaking of rent, this is going to shock you. When I came up here in an industrial building, if it was 10,000 square feet rented for 25 cents a square foot gross, nobody talked about triple nets and taxes and all that kind of stuff. The million square foot building that was just negotiated by a developer I know right down below the hill, okay, million square feet went for $1.10 a foot. So $110,000 in base rent plus the add-on and taxes, so it's probably another $100,000 a month. And you know what? They have people staying in line. So what's going to happen coming on up here, the people that own these industrial buildings, I think are going to do real well. And I think a couple of years from now, people are going to say, what happened? Well, hopefully we can get a lot of industrial manufacturers on up here. And I know it's one thing that our college and we've got a brand new president, Jennifer Tarpley, who's leading our pack. Brandon just finished out his term. Dennis Henderson will be vice president. I'm the clerk. We're really pushing to be sure that VVC is able to do whatever we can to educate these new companies coming in here for whatever needs that they have, because without that, this isn't going to happen. So we're kind of under the gun. It's kind of a positive thing to have happen. So that's my preliminary assessment of where I see the economy today.
The topic turns to Barstow.
The city has a new city manager by the name of Willie A. Hopkins Jr. Got to know him a little bit. I think he's bringing the leadership. I don't know if he watched as many videos of the city council meetings as he should have, or if he would continue. But I think that over time that hopefully the council will heal itself. As I said to the council early on, and I had gone out there and I gave him, I spoke for 3 minutes, and I spoke from my heart because I spoke about having been on the board here at VVC when Michael Krause and I and John Pinkerton and Dennis Henderson. We were just going at it. We were a bunch of. We were going to get it on at every meeting, and it didn't matter if we had to go outside to finish it off. That doesn't help our students. That doesn't help our teachers. That doesn't help our leadership. So I've talked to a couple of the council members out there, and it's easy to point fingers. I can tell you this: it's always easy to point fingers, but as you know, there's not a fight I have never found I didn't like. Mm-hmm. So if you want to get into a fight, there's just not a fight I didn't like. So when I think our board. When I think John and I, most importantly, we talked about this in the past, finally decided that we were out there for one reason, and that's for students. So hopefully the council can weather this out and come together and really just have a reflection upon themselves and say, this is what we got to do. I think some great things are going to happen in Barstow this year. While they brought in medical marijuana out near the outlet center, so you're going to be able to buy it out there, I believe that BNSF is going to have a pretty big announcement to come, and we've been watching it. So people ask me, I was just asked, hey, Joe, how's your project going out there? I'm sitting there, I'm working with Brad Merrill, with Merrill Johnson out in Apple Valley. He's the consulting engineer. We're working with Chris Hildreth and Cody at the city and William Hopkins. We're redoing the specific plan. We're redoing our land use. We may add a couple light industrial buildings. I think we've thrown a couple 100,000 feet there. It's in the opportunity zone, and it's kind of a wait and see. So I think once BNSF moves and says what they're going to, I mean, they bought well over 2,000 acres of ground. They're going to propel that, and then I think the spillover will come from here. We're working with a home builder from the high desert here, a great home builder, a small home builder, who's doing all of his analytics and doing a survey. He's actually doing a survey of the realtors out there right now. I think housing's coming. There's a development team that has a 1,500 home tract that's been approved, a specific plan. They got that under contract. I see great things happening for Barstow. I think that the only thing that I would share with my friends in the city council and planning commission and in the chamber and all that is, you don't have to like each other. Respect each other and learn how to, not pay somebody back for what they did to you or go back after the city because of what they did. Figure out how you work together for the betterment of the city. Once your term is over, then call the other person up, and if you got to go outside and get it over, then get it over. But in the meantime, I think that the citizens of Barstow will really hold people accountable when they know that there are people out there not promoting. I'm not promoting Barstow. I love Barstow. I think that Barstow's got a lot of potential. But potential doesn't matter. You're an ex-coach. You're a historian. I mean, you know what potential is. You're a great football player and basketball player, so you understand what potential is. And we've got we. So I'll close and wish the council and the city management a belated Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And I really hope that everybody does come together. We don't have to love each other, but I think at least respecting each other goes a lot farther. So.
Terry Kurtz Online was brought to you by Down Home Grill in Victorville on the corner of Bear Valley Road and Ridgecrest Road. Call 760-241-4663 for delivery, drive-through, curbside, or pickup. Down Home Grill, corner of Bear Valley Road and Ridgecrest Road in Victorville.
So.
Bid fast and last. World-class auctioneers. Zolu Quality Truck Body, family owned and operated since 1954. The Bradco Companies, our area's longest standing full service commercial brokerage firm. Ewanzak Law Firm, trial lawyers for serious problems. And by the Community Table Restaurant in the Holiday Inn in Victorville. The Holiday Inn, favored destination for travelers and visitors to the Victor Valley. Terry Kurtz here, throwing out an invitation for you to catch up with High Desert Sports Activities, your High Desert Sports Report, showing 3 times every day on Victor Valley TV, 7 and 11 every morning, 4 every afternoon.
What time is it, sports fans? It's time for your High Desert Sports Report.
Your half-hour High Desert Sports Report, the area's only video action highlights coverage of high school athletes, teams, and sports programs, Victor Valley College Rams, and Barstow College Vikings athletic events. We hope you'll join us right here on Victor Valley TV. The Victor Valley College Lady Rams remain atop the conference standings and look to tighten their grip on first place against Mount San Antonio. The Lady Rams are winners of 10 straight and lead Mount San Antonio by 1 full game in the conference standings. Nay Willingham leads Lady Rams scorers, averaging 19 points a game. Tyrecia Sessions and Jordan Brooks average 13 points a game, and Jordan Brooks is averaging 11 rebounds a game. Bid fast and last, sold on showcasing sports headline makers. Here are but a few of the unique items coming up for auction in February. You can bid virtual live online on firearms, vehicles, electric bicycles, collectibles, fine jewelry, coins, antiques, classic cars, and more at bidfastandlast.com.
Tires, start fires, kick ass, take names, and rock and roll.
Your way, Internet.
Terry Kurtz Online was brought to you by Down Home Grill in Victorville on the corner of Bear Valley Road and Ridgecrest Road. Call 760-241-4663 for delivery, drive-through, curbside, or pickup. Down Home Grill, corner of Bear Valley Road and Ridgecrest Road in Victorville.
So.
Bid fast and last. World-class auctioneers. Zvalu Quality Truck Body, family owned and operated since 1954. The Bradco Companies, our area's longest standing full service commercial brokerage firm. Iwanzak Law Firm, trial lawyers for serious problems. And by the Community Table Restaurant in the Holiday Inn in Victorville. The Holiday Inn, favored destination for travelers and visitors to the Victor Valley. Terry Kurtz here, throwing out an invitation for you to catch up with High Desert Sports Activities, your High Desert Sports Report, showing 3 times every day on Victor Valley TV, 7 and 11 every morning, 4 every afternoon.
What time is it, sports fan? It's time for your High Desert Sports Report.
Your half-hour High Desert Sports Report, the area's only video action highlights coverage of high school athletes, teams, and sports programs, Victor Valley College Rams, and Barstow College Vikings athletic events. We hope you'll join us right here on Victor Valley TV. A telltale week ahead for the Mojave River League's top 3 teams, particularly Burroughs. The Burroughs take on both Oak Hills and Hesperia, and both of those games are in Ridgecrest. Hesperia is at Burroughs Wednesday. The Bulldogs-Burroughs engagement is Friday. Oak Hills opens the week at Sultana Wednesday. Coach Rob Alexander's Dogs opened league play with the dramatic 2-point victory at Hesperia. That was followed by a blowout win against Apple Valley. Oak Hills is ranked 6th in the CIF 3AA poll at the time of this report. Burroughs was chalking up lopsided wins over Serrano and Sultana in the first week of MRL play. Hesperia hopes for the following scenario: a road win at Burroughs Wednesday, then a Burroughs win over the Bulldogs Friday, a scenario that would put the 3 teams in a tie atop the standings. The Silverado Hawks are perched atop the Desert Sky League standings with only 1 game on this week's schedule, but it is a big one. The Hawks host the Atalanto Saints Thursday with first place in the DSL at stake. Atalanto is at Granite Hills Tuesday. The Victor Valley Jackrabbits host the Barstow Aztecs Tuesday in the only game those teams have this week. 3 DSL teams are ranked in CIF 3AA's top 25. Victor Valley is ranked 21st, Atalanto is 22nd, Silverado 23rd. This DSL and MRL Boys Basketball Report is brought to you by the Community Table Restaurant in the Holiday Inn in Victorville, supporting the teams, athletes, and schools throughout the High Desert. The Holiday Inn, favored destination for travelers and visitors to the Victor Valley. Terry Kurtz here, throwing out an invitation for you to catch up with High Desert Sports Activities, your High Desert Sports Report, showing 3 times every day on Victor Valley TV, 7 and 11 every morning, 4 every afternoon.
What time is it, sports fan? It's time for your High Desert Sports Report.
Your half-hour High Desert Sports Report, the area's only video action highlights coverage of high school athletes, teams, and sports programs, Victor Valley College Rams, and Barstow College Vikings athletic events. We hope you'll join us right here on Victor Valley TV. Terry Kurtz Online was brought to you by Down Home Grill in Victorville on the corner of Bear Valley Road and Ridgecrest Road.
So.
Bid fast and last. World-class auctioneers. Zvalu Quality Truck Body, family owned and operated since 1954. The Bradco Companies, our area's longest standing full-service commercial brokerage firm. Iwanzak Law Firm, trial lawyers for serious problems. and by the Community Table Restaurant in the Holiday Inn in Victorville. The Holiday Inn, favored destination for travelers and visitors to the Victor Valley. That's a wrap on this week's edition of Terry Kurtz Online. Thank you for hooking up with us this time around. We hope you'll catch us again next week for your Terry Kurtz Online report. Thanks again for watching.